meeting with a lot of intelligent people, and then we solve them. Because you have to deal with people, people who do the work, people who deal with the situation. We have organizations, we have bureaucracy, and bureaucrats, you can't change them by pushing a button. People are sometimes very slow, and there are rules, and it's difficult to understand how to apply them in the situation, and so on. So we need the wisdom of the self. My concepts are my concepts, and each concept needs to be interpreted in the situation together with other people who take part in the situation, which is a big, big thing. Yeah. A short answer is we are more open if we can distinguish between valid concepts and non-valid concepts. This comes from Buddhist logic, and the way I learned to interpret it is very practical. It helps me since 1988. I heard it the first time. A valid concept about the situation, about the refugee crisis, about how to reorganize the European Union, whatever. A valid concept is, first, I know it's a concept. I know it's a perspective. I know it's my perspective, or the perspective of the party I prefer, whatever. Second, it works. It's so simple. A valid concept is a concept. I know it's a concept, and it works. I used to apply this to the role of women because we had a long discussion. I finished school in '68. So I grew up in a very interesting time where we discussed a lot about roles of women, roles of men, whatever. A real woman, a real woman, has children, has a relationship, of course, with a man, earns her own money, and does not irritate anybody by her power. If you're a woman and you have children, you have to be a good mother. Otherwise, why do you have children? You have to be able to have a relationship, and a good relationship. Otherwise, what's the point? You have to earn your own money. You cannot just be dependent on your husband. No way. And please don't make anybody afraid by this ability. So this is a concept. And if I know it's a concept, and if I look, it doesn't work. All these conditions are not, just don't happen. Yeah. Not all women I know have children. Not all live with a man. Not all are able to, or whatever, are willing to live on their own job. And a lot of them make other people afraid. So the concept is just wrong. And a valid concept is a concept, I know it's a concept, and it works. So maybe I could say women are different, very different. And what a woman is, women have to find out. That's it. So not easy. And the same with men. A real man. A real man. He is not a macho. He is not a softie. Do you say softie? Yeah, here too. Yeah. He's a real man. Yeah. Doesn't irritate anybody by his experimenting with new roles. Of course. It's ridiculous. So I think with gender roles, we can understand a little bit more easily what concepts are. Because nobody can say, I don't have a thing with gender roles. I'm just beyond roles. Even if I am beyond, I think I'm beyond roles. Other people will put me into roles. So no way. So we have to distinguish valid and non-valid concepts. And intellectually, it's easy. Do I know it's a concept? Does it work? When I discuss with friends, and some of them have pretty strong opinions about the refuge situation, the political situation. We just have to overcome capitalism. I say, oh, yeah, okay. And how do you do it? Well, I mean, what do you mean by capitalism? Yeah. Oh, the EU, European Union. I mean, it's just too close, and it's not close enough. Yeah, I mean, if we understand, we have concepts. It's much easier to listen to somebody else's point of view, because I know I have a concept, and then I'm interested. What is your point of view? It makes the whole picture more rich, and this is one of the prerequisites to deal with situation now, with this globalized situation, with this changing social situations and connections and relationships, is I have to learn to have a certain openness to the points of view of other people, interested, to be interested. What do you think about the situation? Because then maybe I notice a couple of more points. So, one point. Yeah, this is not easy. And it's easier to learn this with people you like, with people you feel connected with, you have a connection with. And so that's why I feel we have to really engage in creating stable groups where we relate to. In the neighborhood, I mean, my fifth rule is we need 3-4 groups we feel connected with. It can be the neighborhood. It can be the family. Still many people have blood family, which is important. Yeah. It can be a meditation group. It can be a choir. In Germany, choirs are very famous. Everybody wants to sing and sing in choirs. And so it can be a hiking group, a group which goes hiking in the summertime every 2 weeks or once a month, whatever, a group you feel connected with through a common value. And this helps you to neutralize this liking, not liking principle. Because if I like to sing, I like to sing. If I sing in a choir, and some people I wouldn't invite to my birthday party, but if they sing well, I get a certain relationship to them, and I like when they are there. I hope they will come when we train a new song, because their voice would be missing if they were not there. So if you have groups where you relate together with a common value, it kind of minimizes this like and dislike mechanism, which is in friendships, of course, much stronger. So it's not enough to have friends or people you like. You need people you feel connected with, even though you don't like them completely. And a family, if it's working well, is something like that too. There are certain cousins or aunts or uncles where when I was younger, I used to fight with them about changing society and gender roles and this kind of stuff. But still, it was my uncle and my aunt and my cousin, and we got along again. Yeah. So we need groups. Somebody suggested that for political groups, that we find political groups where people of different opinions cooperate. And there was, since the 70s, 80s in Germany, some young politicians from different groups met. Young social democrats, young Christian Democrats, young liberal Democrats, young green people. In the 80s, they met and talked together about, let's say, climate or nature or ecology, where they had a certain common value. And it was very interesting that from those people, a lot of inspiration came into the relationship of the parties. Yeah. So it's good to have a stable group of people who meet from different points of view in terms of politics. It's incredibly valuable. And in a way, this is the principle of democracy. The principle of democracy is not I have my own party and the others are all stupid. But we have different experiences of life. We have different points of view. We relate to different areas of society, and we have to sit together. And that's for me the background of the expectation that each party in a democratic society should be able to make a coalition with another party. That's the principle behind that. Yeah, we should be able, even if we have different opinions in certain areas, to cooperate with people. And now in Germany, we have, because of this more right-wing Alternative for Germany, which won in Saxonia 22%. Now we have a Christian Democrat, Social Democrat, and Green coalition, because they don't want them. Nobody wants to make a coalition with them. So I find that quite interesting, that they now sit together and they make it. They make it now. And I find that very interesting, because the value is to keep these right-wing people out of political power. Yeah, quite interesting. Yeah, so that's the wisdom aspect. I focus very much on the wisdom aspect, because the way we look at the world influences our attitude. In Buddhism, they say the view you have is the basis for the attitude you have. And if my view on the world is we are separate, different nationalities, and my nationality is more important than the other nationalities, and we are better than the others, of course, my emotional attitude will be different, or will be related to that view. And if my view is we are connected, of course there are differences. I mean, I know, I come from southern Germany. There's a certain different mentality, southern Germany, northern Germany. Yeah, I know Polish people, I know Italian people, I have Spanish friends. There is different mentalities in respect to certain topics, yeah, or lifestyle, or I mean, the attitude to work, efficiency, responsibility, yeah, or how much one should work. There are different mentalities, yeah. So what is right? What is wrong? Germans love to work, and they love to make holidays in Italy since centuries, because lifestyle is different, or they like to go to Spain, and yeah, they like the Mediterranean attitude to life in holidays. So it's quite interesting. I mean, there is different attitudes, and we have to learn to accept that and still have a respect for equality. We are still equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. But our attitudes, our abilities, our style in life is different. How to deal with that? When we notice, or when we know we are connected, economically, culturally, yeah, many levels, as much possible, understanding this connectedness, the heart becomes more open. Yeah, and they recommend, when you or meditate about the interconnectedness of everybody. Where is Lama Zopa? Here. He still does it. When we had lunch in Kopan Monastery in Nepal, sometimes we had lunch together with the lamas. 150 people sitting, everybody having their food. And then Lama Zopa was blessing the food and talking about the interconnectedness. We are connected with the people who cooked the food and who brought the food to us. And we are connected with the people who bought the food in the market, and those who brought it to the market, and those who grew it on the fields, and with their parents and their grandparents. and the food was cold, and everybody felt connected with everybody else. For me, this still is a very strong meditation. Sometimes I sit just in my flat, in my living room, and look at my books and the music and my clothes and my photo album, whatever, computer, and think about the interconnectedness with all the people. I mean, I feel connected with the Greek philosophers. I feel connected with Buddha and his contemporaries. I feel connected with the lamas. I feel connected with the musicians who are already dead. And so, I mean, we are all connected. And everybody of us is connected. And it's good to think about this connectedness, because then the heart opens a little bit again and again. And it's not a one-shot deal. It's not enough to meditate once about the interconnectedness and then everything's clear. But again and again and again and again and again and again. And the deeper, that's the Buddhist idea, the deeper the understanding of interconnectedness, the more open the heart will be. And the description of this attitude is very interesting. It's not just friendliness, it's compassion too. There are 4 attitudes. It's friendliness. I prefer that to love, because love has a different connotation in our culture. Love is individual, the individual relationship. And metta, maitri, mitra, it means friendship, friends, it's friendliness, an attitude of well-wishing. Yeah, this is one thing. The next one is compassion. So if things go wrong, compassion with the suffering. I wish your suffering gets less. And compassion is a very interesting attitude, because there is a certain confidence in that you can reduce suffering. It's not pity, oh, it's so terrible, it's so terrible, and suffering is so terrible, and the world is in such a bad state. That's not compassion, that's pity. That's that's pity, and this is connected with depression and helplessness, and it's so terrible, and sentimentality, and very easily transforming into anger. If you help people, for instance, and they don't accept your help, they don't accept your advice, your intelligent advice how to solve their problems. I mean, that's pity. Compassion is just a wish. I want you to have less suffering. And interestingly, deep compassion is not just compassion with the suffering of the others, but with their greed, hate, and delusion. It's compassion with their confusion, because this confusion prevents them from doing something wholesome for themselves and for others. So even people who do bad things, they suggest, of course, if you can stop them to hurt others, do it. But don't give up this person, but have compassion with the stupidity and the ignorance and the hate and the delusion and the greed of this person who is creating suffering for themselves and for others. So I find that very interesting. It's not just compassion with suffering, which is easy for us. If somebody suffers, it's kind of a natural response to wish to help in whatever way possible. But it's deep compassion with the ignorance, with greed, hate, and delusion, in the short version of describing it. Yeah, it's very interesting. Compassion is an incredible, deep attitude and a wise attitude. Yeah? Then they say joy is important. Joy. Be happy about anything positive you see in yourself and in others. Be happy about it. So we cannot work in politics if we only have compassion with the suffering. We get depressed and we get completely confused and helpless. We need joy. Joy with what we can see as positive in others. And we know by now from trauma therapy, it's a very important aspect in trauma therapy to see the resources of the other people, to see the positive in other people, what the qualities they have, and looking for the qualities they have. It's very important in the attitude to others, training yourself, seeing the positive within you and in others. And number 4, we don't like very much when we are into politics. Equanimity. Equanimity. This does not mean indifference. Indifference is they call the near enemy of equanimity because it's easily confused. Some people, some lamas say, some people cultivate indifference. They don't cultivate equanimity. Indifference is, it's all too difficult. Shutting up. Yeah. And sometimes I'm not so sure when I hear or read something about equanimity in politics, it sounds like indifference. Don't bother too much about the world. The world is so difficult. Just keep peaceful. Just keep peaceful. Just keep peace. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes it seems too close to indifference. But equanimity is like a little bit in good and in bad times. I stay here because I understand life is not a wellness event. When I was born, I didn't get a paper. You will always be happy for the rest of your life, and everybody will do what you like and support you, and everything will be perfect. And there will be no crisis in society, and there will be no change. Oh God, it would be so boring. No changing. Sometimes when I don't like these times nowadays, when it's so much changing, I just have for 2 minutes to think, from now on, nothing will change anymore. It will always stay the same. Or I go back in the past, it will always be like 1966. Or always be like 1968, 90, whatever your difficult time or your good time was, then I'm always kind of accepting change. Just when I think now everything stays the same. Terrible idea. So life is not just easy. That's the source of equanimity is understanding that life is dukkha, suffering is happening. There is no, you can't organize a society in a way that you don't get older, that you don't die. I mean, some people try to get themselves freezed after death, and they hope in 200 years they will find a pill or a technique to defreeze them, get them out of the fridge. Maybe. Okay, I mean, we are born, we get older, we get sick, we die, and no way of eating and no way of lifestyle, no lifestyle will help you not to get sick. And you will lose people. Other people will die if you don't die. Other people will get sick. I mean, you will have suffering, which is part of human life. There will be separations. People have different opinions and people fight, and yeah, and sometimes it gets winter and it gets spring, and seasons change and people change and situations change, and children get into this difficult age of puberty and they find their parents terrible and whatever. Our parents get old. We have to take care. Yeah, whatever. So there will be always suffering. We can try to minimize it, but there will be suffering. And why? Because situations change. And why do they change? Because life is complex. Life is incredibly complex on a cellular level, on a social level, on a physical level, emotional level. In all, life is complex. And it changes. And if you know that, if you change a little bit in a system, sometimes one person less in a team, Yeah, the whole situation changes. Sometimes a new good person in a team, which has the ability to integrate people, incredibly positive changes. Yeah, so we will always suffer in some way or other, more or less. There will always be changes because life is complex. And if you understand and accept that, you develop equanimity. It doesn't mean you shut up, you close up, but you know there will be difficulties. You better reckon with them. You better expect problems and not, I have made a perfect plan. Why are there problems? I mean, I think that's so naive. I mean, I, I really, I mean, we have this refugee topic now in Germany with this 1 million people and living, part of them, in big halls, and students in school cannot make sports because the big sports halls are now for refugees. It's not easy. And people get so angry that it's not, the solution is not more quick happening. But I expect this is a problem. This is not easy. You don't have in 1 week 100 more social workers and teachers and classrooms and programs, and it takes time, and there are problems, and people are people, and different interests, different perspectives, and so on. So it's complex, it's difficult, and problems will happen. So equanimity is based on the inside. Suffering will happen. Everything is impermanent, and you can't completely control. There is no entity in me or in the society or in the spiritual world which has under control the whole situation. It's more like a very complex system. But the wonderful thing with complex systems is sometimes if you change a little bit, it has an incredible effect. So it needs creative people who have a feeling for the right situation. In Greek, they call it kairos. Chronos is the linear time, and kairos is the right moment, the quality time. Or in Tibetan Buddhism, they call it dependent arising or auspicious coincidence. When the right conditions come together, poof, development happens, change happens in a positive way. And you need intuition to find that right point where the right people with the right ideas in the right situation come together and have the enthusiasm and the inspiration and try something out. And European history is full of moments of this kind, where the right person in the right situation, or the right people, a couple of them. So, and then you can develop equanimity. You know, it's not easy, but it's possible. And this is summarized in the attitude of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva, the being who aspires enlightenment for the sake of everybody. Not, I want to be a wise person, and that's why I go now in the Himalayan mountains and do retreat for 20 years. Then I'm wise and know what to do. Lama Yeshe told us this one. If you want to wait for the Bodhisattva practice until you completely understand it, you'll never begin. Because Bodhisattva practice means learning by doing. But you need this open heart, at least an intellectual understanding that concepts are concepts. Perspectives are perspectives. And I mean, I think this is a strong metaphor. A perspective is, I'm sitting here now. I have definitely a different perspective on this situation than you have. And it's obvious, yeah? And in every situation, I look always from my point of view into the world. So you have to understand that. Second, you have to understand this deep interconnectedness. We are living in one world. We belong together. I mean, we understand more than 2-3 centuries, 2-3 generations before us, how much we are connected. And then they do their best in the situation they are. And if you are a politician, you can try to inspire certain ideas, get people together, make round tables, discussions, whatever. If you're a teacher, you try to find a situation to integrate refugee kids, whatever you can do. If you're a Dharma teacher, you talk about interconnectedness and the Bodhisattva path and an open heart and a clear mind. Whatever you can do in your situation, you do. And you never give up. Bodhisattvas don't give up. That doesn't mean they work 24 hours a day. In the Bodhisattva training, in the teachings on the paramitas, on the attitudes which help you to cultivate this open heart and clear mind, the first sentence in terms of energy, when they talk about the Bodhisattva's energy, they have enthusiastic perseverance, they have joy in the wholesome. And the root, the source of this joy and energy is joy in the wholesome. The root, the source of the energy of the Bodhisattvas is joy in what they do. Joy in the wholesome, of course. And they say, and when Bodhisattvas have done a lot, they have to rest. I love this teaching. I love it. It is the first point is the source of energy is joy. And we know that when we love to do something, we have more energy than if we should do something and find it useless or whatever. Yeah. And the second is when you have worked a lot, you have to rest. So, but from your heart, you don't give up. You say, okay, I need a sabbatical, Bodhisattva sabbatical. I do some retreat, yeah. But the attitude is still open-hearted. And at least we can wish well. We can pray. I mean, better than getting angry about the news is pray for the improvement of whatever situation we have seen in the news. Yeah? And wishing that the right people come together to find a solution for certain problems. So the attitude is, I don't give up. I know I don't have the wisdom to solve all problems. I know the world is complex. I know all my ideas are concepts, but if I share them with others and we have a certain degree of agreement, the probability is bigger than that these thoughts are useful, these approaches are useful. We cooperate with different people and then we try our best, the best we can do, and we don't give up. That's the idea of the Bodhisattvas. And you cannot prescribe this. And the funny thing is you must want it. You must want it. It's a ridiculous sentence, but you have to have the inspiration to do it. Otherwise, you can't. And for many people, it's too much. So one job of the Bodhisattvas is to reduce fear in others. Reduce fear and not inspire fear, not put oil into the fire of anger, but to try to console people. Come on, we find a solution. There will be a path out of this situation. I don't know how, but we can sit together, we find a path. Console people, try to inspire them, don't push them, and don't give up. With an open heart and a clear mind as much possible. Okay, so far now. And now I would suggest that you get together in pairs, in 2 people. And my suggestion is choose a person to talk with whom you don't know. It opens your horizon and it opens you for new perspectives. You can talk to the person you know afterwards because you anyway know you the other person. But try, if you want, to talk with a person you don't know or hardly know in order to open your perspectives to another perspective. About 10 minutes, then we will do a short meditation with a guided meditation, and then there's space for questions, for discussion, whatever. Okay.
Can I suggest that we do that while we go get tea and coffee and stuff that you want to sit here, or can people go in pace and talk while they
That's good. But please talk a little bit. But my suggestion is talk about 10 minutes about what touched you, what inspired you, what irritated you, questions you brought with, or whatever. And you can have a tea with them. Okay, please.
So walk and talk, yeah?
Yes, walk and talk.
Yeah.
Walk and talk, please.
So we're back here at 20 past, yeah?
And it always fits, because if it's not fitting, you can talk with 3 people.
excellent. English is excellent.
Well, I mean, I'm always looking, searching for the right expression. I mean, I wrote my notes. Is that good? Yeah? Because I didn't want it that it touches the table. Otherwise, there might be problems. So please find a relaxed posture. The Buddha taught how to meditate sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. So all is possible. But when you sit on a chair, the suggestion is that the feet are both on the ground. It's kind of a stable situation. And the hands are on the upper legs. You can take off your glasses because then your eyes can relax, and they are often very tense because we look so carefully into the world. Is it okay with the lights for you, or is it a bit light? Maybe you can switch out some lights, or just put it in another direction, right? Oh, then it's heavy for me.
Not for me.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. And for you, there's not much possible. Huh? Oh, great. Okay. So find a easy posture. Which you can hold for a couple of minutes. Yeah? And the back as erect as possible. That helps you to become awake or stay awake. The arms and hands relaxed. Okay, then we do a guided meditation. Find a stable, relatively relaxed and upright sitting position. You can close your eyes or let them open in an unfocused way. And when you have found a posture which is okay for this situation, good enough, just don't move for some time and let your mind wander. Let him do what it wants. And then think about either political situation where you have a relatively clear point of view. You can think about your favorite political enemy, about a political party or fraction of a party which you don't like, or about the behavior of a neighbor which you find disgusting or impossible, or think about a negative opinion about a political situation, point of view. or a person in your not very close, but in your relationships where you have a certain point of view. And just maybe think of a situation where this opinion came up very clearly in the last days or weeks. Maybe find one sentence which summarizes your opinion, your point of view. And now look at your emotional attitude towards this person or group or point of view. What is the emotional attitude you feel now when you think of this person or group or point of view? And then we take some time and check this opinion we have. Is this a valid concept? Do we know that is a concept? And does it work? Or is it a non-valid concept? A concept we don't really recognize as a concept, as a point of view? And we haven't really tested if it works. We haven't checked many situations where this opinion fits. We check. Is this a valid or a non-valid concept? And now we can experiment with another concept about the same person, the same situation. Hopefully a valid concept. Just try it out. And we notice what effect this second concept we thought about has on our emotional attitude now, on our attitude, our feelings towards this person, group, or opinion. And then we summarize this guided meditation with a question. What became clearer to me? What touched me? What was important? And we just let this question sink in and wait what comes up as an answer. Maybe an image, a sentence, a word. And in the end, we formulate a wish, how this meditation should affect our life. What do we wish? How it affects our life. And a suggestion, may this meditation help us to open our heart and clarify our minds so that we notice the connectedness with others and feel friendly, compassionate, joyful, and with equanimity towards people we know and don't know, towards people we like and don't like. For our own benefit and for the benefit of all. May all beings be happy. And now please move your body, stretch. That's one of my favorite meditations. I do it. I mean, I don't do it formally a lot, but just when I read newspaper or when I watch TV or when I get angry about what some people say and think and okay. Yes, now space is open for feedback, questions, comments. Luis.
Yep.
I would like to introduce the question of the short story. He was a very famous Spanish philosopher.
Ortega Gasset.
He said, I'm me and my circumstances.
Me and my circumstances. Yeah, yeah.
He was traveling in a train, and there was a father and a son, and the son was making a lot of noise. And Ortega wanted to watch the landscape, but the child was distracting him. So he took a sheet from a magazine. There was a man in a suit, and he broke it in small pieces like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And he gave it to the boy, thinking that it would take him a lot of time to solve the puzzle. But after a couple of minutes, the boy had finished the puzzle, and this man was puzzled because he didn't understand how. And he said, "How? You are very clever. How? No, sorry. I was telling wrong the story. There was a map of the world."
Yeah. Another man, a map of the world.
A map of the world.
Yeah.
And he said, well, the other page was a man.
Yeah.
So I made the figure of a man, and then I turned the page.
Yeah.
And this philosopher said, oh, very clever. If you want to fix the world, you have to
fix the man.
No, my question is, I don't agree completely with that. Like in your introduction, you mentioned that in order to change the world, we have to change the individual. I think there are structures of injustice. You cannot wait until the individuals have changed in order to change the world. It's not a matter of changing individual by individual. Something has to be done in these structures of injustice. So I don't know. I would like to know what you think about that.
Okay. I think a lot about that. I collect the questions because often they are related to each other. Please. Celia.
Do you think that now there's more talk among Buddhists of being more active in sort of social political questions, or is this something that has always been like throughout the time he has been moving into Buddhism?
Okay.
This concept of being a Bodhisattva in a Western context. You make it kind of more practical, read it in the Buddhist texts, and it's kind of a little archaic, some of them. Some of the examples are old-fashioned and stuff. You just make it into a little bit more
modern one.
Yeah, more modern, practical. What would it mean to be a modern-day Buddhist?
Okay.
How do you reflect when the other point of view, the other people values is so different, so provocative, like real, you feel you have an enemy in front of you.
An enemy.
Yeah. Because the point of view is totally different, and how to stay. How because sometimes I think when I in the situation, I quickly became like the other, because I also and for me it's a big challenge. And also because if I want to not give up, I had problems with this, because I became very tired. Quickly.
Very big question. Please.
I have a question about non-violent education. I'm thinking about this later, that we tend to either praise or punish kids, for instance. Or praise the good students and
Mhm.
punish the bad students.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering what a good way would be.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have the feeling that neither of these are perhaps
Yeah.
the best way.
Okay. Martin? No? No? No. No. Joseph. Yeah.
So there's a situation recently where I have to speak in very general terms, but it's sensitive that let's say we're looking for space
Mhm.
and let's say I found a space and then one proponent of this space is saying, but we need to keep it for ourselves.
You mean like a flat, a room?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's call it that.
Mhm.
And then it has to be for people like us.
Yeah.
Within our own tradition.
Okay.
And then I said, well, hang on. Where's the, we respect each other's traditions, but how do we in fact share space? Let's create our own world here in this space. So without things getting too complicated, maintaining respect, but still, respecting traditions, but there are limits to those traditions. And I was quite shocked. I was shocked. I was angry.
Mhm.
And then I had to say, well, what is being shocked and angry?
Yeah.
Because obviously there might be an aspect where I myself am not able to be as altruistic as I would like to be. So this, at the end of that meditation, I prayed deeply that when I'm placed in such a situation that I will be able to be.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
I have one about for people that have a lot of activity or are passionate and want to change things.
Yeah.
How to have an opinion and still hold it loosely enough. How to hold an opinion so it's still inspiring and keeping you moving forward, and holding it loosely enough so that it's not doesn't become a burden and too stiff.
Yeah. Yeah. And still, I mean.
And still have that.
Yeah.
That is so important.
Yeah.
It's really important to me.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah. Gosh. Please.
I've been dwelling into this over the last couple of weeks, and I found that for me, the violence in myself is against myself. On a very subtle level, there's a non-acceptance of my opinions, of my way of being, and it's got nothing. It's provoked by others, stuff, but in fact, actually, it's right in the core of my being. Some sort of separation, non-acceptance thing, which seems to be the core, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it, because there seems to be this. It's the same as I'm talking in context, but it's just inside. It's an internal context.
Yeah. Please.
One more. I find that when in political talk, people say that it's very complicated. It has a tendency of being used to belittle others and to say, you won't understand it anyway because it's so complex. And only me, and the agent of power, in power, can possibly understand it. Even though I do understand it's true. Things are incredibly complex, but it's usually used in quite.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I try my best. I don't give up. Yeah. The first question was about this nice little story of Dega Igase. About the puzzle. One side it's a man, back side is the world, and can fix the puzzle very quickly if you see the man. It's much easier than the world. But the question is, can we change? Really, do we have enough time or whatever? Or is it possible to change the individuals, that they can change the world, or don't we have to change the system? Well, I mean, the first response which came up in me is, in the name of the good, more people were killed than by ordinary hate, greed, and delusion. So I'm very careful about crusades for the good. Yeah. And I mean, if you want to change a system, I understand that certain systems like the competition system or the system that so many people nowadays work 12 hours a day. It's crazy, and work at home and have this mobile devices all the time on in order to react. It's crazy structures. But if you change a structure and the people don't understand it and don't accept it, it doesn't work. We have a very famous businessman in Germany. He is very famous, and he went together with our former president to China, so he is not a nobody. And he says he wants the basic income for everybody. Basic income like 700-800 euro per month for everybody. We should start slowly. And people often, he always gives gratis talks. There's never an entrance fee for his talks. So he's really into it and talks about it. And people say, why do you have so good connections in politics? Why don't you push the politicians that they introduce it? And he said, the wind has to come from society. If you push something into society where people don't accept that, it doesn't work. So, of course, I think we need change certain systems, but you can only change systems if you have the people with it. You see, I'm teaching at the annual psychotherapist conference in fall in Germany. And I'm invited as a Buddhist teacher, stress reduction, stress reduction, stress reduction. It's kind of in whichever context. And one time I had about 45, no, that was the other course. It was about 60 people, doctors, therapists, clinic leaders, therapists in clinics, private practice. And I asked, who of you managed to reduce your pressure and work in terms of normal contracts? 10 people showed up, and I let them explain what they did. And one Swedish woman, she works as a doctor in Germany, she said, we had terrible working conditions in our clinic, and I wanted to change that. I'm too much pressure and too little staff and too many hours. And there was a lot of fear that if we say something, we would lose our jobs. And some people said, in 2 years, I become a pensioner. I don't want to say anything. I need this job. I have 3 kids. I can't afford. But she was so optimistic, and maybe because she was Swedish, she just kept going. She didn't give up. And she said, it took me 2 years. And then we had a group through all levels of the hospital. And now we got a prize for the most family-friendly clinic in southern Germany. So they got together. It took them a long time. It took a lot of convincing from her side. And then, of course, a couple of others cooperated in order to overcome these different fears they had. So they could change the system because they worked together. So it's not easy, but it's possible. And there is a lot of little situations, and in certain areas it gets better, and you have to get together and try to sit on a round table and try it out. And sometimes it goes wrong in the first, when you first try, it goes wrong, and you just keep going. And they did it in a very friendly way. That's another point. And I always tell, I teach a lot, I taught a lot for social pedagogues, social workers, and sometimes some of them have difficult working situations. And I tell them with holy, what do you say then? Sturheit, heilige Sturheit, with a holy, not rigidity, holy perseverance, like Cicero did. Carthago, ceterum censeo, Carthago deleandam esse. We have to finish Carthago. He said at the end of every talk he gave in the Roman Senate. And so ceterum censeo. By the way, with holy perseverance, we need 2 people more in our team. We need 20% more people with a friendly face, not pushing at all. You know, I want to make one comment. I think we know the situation. We need 2 more people in our team. We need 2 more people in our compartment, whatever. And some people gave me feedback the next year. After 3 months of them in every team session, they said that the boss said, okay, we have now 2 volunteers, and to stop them coming. But I told them friendly, with friendly perseverance, no making guilt feelings, not blaming the boss, because they are under pressure. And in one situation, the women of a kindergarten, they had to make more hours open and no more people. And they said, we don't do it. And then there was another woman in this course, and she said, I'm from the bureaucracy. Everybody was kind of, oh, from the social government, yeah. And she said, I need those kind of people. If I don't get pressure from below, I cannot push up, because I get pressure too. If I say everybody accepts everything, I cannot say this is not okay. I find you fantastic. And there were 5 women in one kindergarten. They just said, no, of course we would like to open till 6 o'clock, till 7 o'clock. If we get 2 more people, we are happy to do that. They were friendly, but very clear. So I think it doesn't mean don't change the system, just wait until 7 million people have changed. But a sociological observation is if 5% of the population has other values, it gets some momentum. And in Germany, you could observe that very good. When 5% of the people were open for green issues, the Green Party was founded in 1980. If 5%, that's the background of the voting rule, 5%. A group has to have 5% in order to be able to get into the parliament. Yeah, so it's an observation. If 5% of the population wants something, or for an area, or in a certain professional area, you have enough people from different layers of society in different positions that they can influence something. It gets momentum. Yeah, it gets an own. Yeah, for that reason, I just don't give up. Wherever I can open my mouth, I open my mouth and recommend this holy perseverance. And it's incredibly effective. But it needs the right people and the right time. The auspicious coincidence. I mean, you cannot plan it ahead. You cannot plan it ahead. We had Brandt at a certain time in Germany in the 70s, and he had a feeling for people, and he had a feeling for gestures and for metaphors and for images. Yeah, and it changed something. It changed our relationship to Poland incredibly, because he did the right thing at the right time in the right situation. So we need that. Second question was what I know about Buddhist attitude about activism. I mean, I'm now in the Buddhist scene almost 40 years. So what I can notice is that more and more Buddhist groups and teachers reflect on the political issue. And some, I met a colleague in Hamburg. She does now once a year a convention, kind of conference with Buddhism and society. And she invites journalists who work on economic questions. She invites people who do nonviolent communication and from different areas. and they make groups in her center who discuss for the next 6 months, discuss about these things and choose projects. So, and of course, everybody knows Bernie Glassman. He, the American Zen teacher, he does a lot of work with homeless people, and he has politics, but it's very clear. He's a Jewish teacher. I mean, he's Jewish background and a Buddhist teacher. This activism in society is not a Buddhist topic. It's a Western, it's our inheritance. It's this justice thing. In Buddhist India, there was the caste system. So the revolution of the Buddha was to invite people from all castes into his order without the caste being relevant. And the low caste person who was ordained today sat before in the first row, and the Brahmin who was ordained a couple of days later had to sit behind. So he made this ancienity, the time when you enter the order was the status and not the caste. That was already a big revolution. But in China and later in Japan, Confucianism had kind of organized society. So the society organization was covered by another system. And Asian societies have a different opinion about change and not changing. And it's a Western idea of changing society, equality. I mean, this is so incredibly revolutionary. I mean, it's an incredible idea of equality amongst everybody. I mean, the background is too. Before God, the emperor and the beggar are the same. Their social status is different. But before God, the beggar and the emperor are the same. This is an incredibly revolutionary idea. And in order to realize that in society, in ourselves, it's an incredible ideal, and it takes a long time, but we have this ideal, and the Asian countries don't have it. And where it's introduced, it comes from us. And I'm very proud of this inheritance we have from this confidence we can change society for the better, and our societies have changed for the better. I mean, I'm pretty glad I don't live 5 generations ago as a woman. I mean, really, very much. But it's not perfect, because it needs people to understand this principle and feel it, have the view and the attitude. And many people don't have it. And I feel, and my observation is, the majority of the people in Germany live in pre-modern times, culturally. They are not living in modern times, Kant. Dare to use your own reason. I mean, the majority just follows tradition and follows what others say and follows conventions. And I think it's all over Europe the same. And I think United States is the same. And that means the developed countries and the other countries is even worse. So I think we have these high ideals, but the majority of the population is not there. And I understand culture and religion as a kind of method to get the great visions of great people like Buddha, Jesus, and whatever social change people we had into society. It's kind of a transformation method, culture and religion, to get this incredible inspiration the Buddha had of equality and enlightenment for everybody, or Jesus respecting everybody, into the heart and mind of everybody. And this takes time. And so I'm less angry about the slow development, because I just notice if you don't see it that way, you don't feel it that way, and then you cannot change society. So I hope for people who are inspired by this view of equality and respect and this view of friendliness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, and inspire others. And people can do a lot. I mean, this man has inspired so many people all over the world to risk this path. It's incredible. So we are with the next question. What does Bodhisattva path in Western terms mean? For me, that's what I presented before. I mean, a certain level of wisdom, a certain level of attitude. It means, and for me, this crucial point is understanding different perspectives. Understanding my concepts are my concepts. My perspective is my perspective. This, otherwise you are not open to other perspectives. This, for me, the crucial point of a bodhisattva. In order to listen to you, I have to understand that my point of view is not objective. And then I will listen to you. And I have to understand we are connected. And then with this view comes a more open heart. And then you just do what you do. And of course, the parameters can be explained. You have to be ethical, and you have to be generous, and you have to be patient, and you have perseverance, don't give up. You have to have a certain stability, samadhi, a certain stability inside, a peaceful heart, and you have to have wisdom. And so the 6 parameters are for me fantastic orientation. You don't have to read all the sutras in the 100 details of this, but this is for me very inspiring. Just understand that concepts are relative. I mean, this even you need for a good democracy. You need it for a good round table talk. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And as long as I think I'm right and you are wrong, you can change the system as long as you want. I will make it into my system. I mean, that's what we do. We misuse any system in order to rationalize or to prove our own opinions. And the more open, I mean, there are certain round table communications which are fantastic because people listen to each other. And then something changes. And then we need the right time. So just start with this. I mean, I promise you, and you get your money back if it doesn't work. If you more and more understand that your concepts are concepts, your heart opens. There's no other way. And the more you understand the interconnectedness of people, the more you are willing to look for solutions which are good for everybody. And the more you see how many people have very good attitudes in all parties, in all societies. There are many, really many good people who try their best and know things go wrong and they don't lose confidence. Yeah, then next question was, when I have a disagreement with somebody else and we really have different opinions, I get angry. I see the other person as an enemy. And when I try to keep the connection, it's very difficult and I get tired. I lived 8 years in in Bavaria, in a little village with our Buddhist center. And our neighbors were farmers, Catholic farmers. And we learned we had a fantastic relationship with them because you always can find points. Where is a common interest? That's my thing. You can only discuss heavily with a person if you have a common ground. So whatever I try is first, I try to find a common ground. With our neighbors, we had the garden. So we could endlessly talk about the garden and how to grow vegetables. And we had to repair the house and we had an old school. And so we could talk about repairing. And one of our guys, he started to work with the firemen. Yeah, so there was something in common. I bought in the local shop. So we had something in common. Oh, good business this weekend. You have a course? We both had good business. Yeah, of course, the shop sold stuff. And we had, so find a common ground. And with some friends of mine, long-term friends, I have a lot of friends from olden times, and some of them have strong political opinions. And with some people, I don't talk about certain points. We just don't talk about it. And talk about things we are both interested in and whatever. And but it's not possible if we both don't want to open up. It's not possible to talk. And to fight, it's not possible either, because then just we don't communicate anymore. So my attitude is, on my experience, is try to find a common ground. And from the common ground you can, after some time, sometimes there is an openness because we have such a good understanding on certain topics that there comes a little opening, maybe for something else too. And it was really, there was an incredibly positive experience with Catholic, Christian, socialist people, Bavarian Party, about ecology, because they wanted to stay farmers. And the only way to keep their farm was turning into ecological farming. They understood after some time, and in our area where we lived with the center, this was the first official agrarian, what do you call it, from the farmers' convention, where they made ecological training. Not because of us, but in that area it was possible with ecology to find a common ground, because they wanted to be farmers and stay farmers. And they understood big farming, then they are gone. So try to find a common ground. But it hurts me very much if I cannot talk with certain people. I have old friends, they think religion is the cause of suffering in the whole world. And if there was no Catholic Church and no Protestant Church, there would be no problems. I said, come on. If there would be no religions, there would be no problem. They believe that, but still they are my friends, because we share a long history, and so we don't talk about religion. It's difficult. It hurts, but it's real. That's happening. Yeah, I don't fight with them about religion. Nonviolent education. I think there is a lot of wonderful experiments like Montessori training or Steiner. There's a lot of schools or alternative schools, or where they try to stimulate interest. And for me, this is the key. With kids and with grown-ups and kids who are 15, 16, 13, difficult time. If people do something they really like, they are interested in, they are motivated. Joy is the source of energy. So if you are in, and that's what I try, in what I teach social workers who work with kids too, and they know that. If you stimulate the interest of the kids, they like to do something, yeah, and not praising for conventional success or blaming. On the other hand, a certain kind of discipline is necessary, otherwise you don't get done anything. But kids like discipline, they like, my basic training is school teacher for high school, yeah, gymnasium. And my observation was very clear, and with colleagues and so on. Kids prefer a teacher who is clear, and they don't like this kind of, what do you call it? This kind of, yes, maybe, and we will see, and they can't stand these teachers, yeah? This kind of liberal, yeah, this kind of liberal softies, they can't stand them. They like teachers and who are clear, because then they can discover if they have a different opinion. It's easier, I mean, I think so. I mean, Hannah Arendt, she's my favorite philosopher. I get her into in any weekend. She gave a talk in Germany in the 50s for a teachers convention, and she said, if you are too too much giving in to students, they don't have an orientation, and they fall back into the in a very magical and in a very very early behavior of this, the fittest, the strongest is the leader. They fall back in a very bad behavior. But if they don't have clear orientation, they have their own way of organizing themselves, and then it's the strongest is the most important and not the most reasonable one or the most compassionate one. So students need clear examples, they need orientation in order to find out their own point of view. I found that very interesting, that kids who don't have orientation, they organize like gangs in schools, in outside schools. They need a certain, until they are grown up, they need examples. They need people who are like examples for them. They need that. Not authoritarian people telling them all the time what they should do, but they need inspiration. And clear people are better for them than this kind of maybe, yeah, well, yeah, this kind of echo. They echo people, just echo what they say. It's my experience too. Yeah. In the 1980s, next one is working together with other traditions and this kind of thing. In the 1980s, I had this wonderful idea. I went to Munich and invited all the Buddhist traditions, Kaji, Nyingma, Gelug, whatever they were, at least the Tibetans, and suggested to them to make a common center. No way. It's impossible. I tried. No way. We were kindly invited to rent the Kachi Center for evening talks and for seminars and for weekends, quite friendly. But everybody said, we want our own center. And in Berlin now we have a very beautiful example. We have a Ayakema, maybe some of you know the Theravadan teacher. She died in 97. She's a great German Theravada nun. And a student of hers created 10 years ago a very nice center in the center of Berlin. And this is, it's their center, but their principle is to invite people from other traditions to do weekends. I do all my weekends at their place since the last 10 years. Students of mine do it there. And they even had the relic exhibition in a Theravada center, the relic exhibition from Namazopa 9 years ago or whatever. They had, so I like that. It seems to be the solution which is possible. One group has the center, but they have the openness. And they need us, they say very clearly, we need to rent out the place to other groups, otherwise, and this is a win-win situation. I think it's important. I tried with a friend of mine, we studied together Tibetan at the university in Sanskrit. We are good friends. And he had a Kachi center, and I was accepted in the 80s to lead meditation group there. I could even put up a picture of Lama Yeshe, and so, but it was not possible to do it together really, because he got from his lamas, no. So it was okay to come once a week and lead a group there, but it was my evening, and I paid for that. Yeah. So I think we are in a transition time, and we have to, but it works more in that direction. Yeah, and I know now many centers in Germany who invite people from other traditions or rent out the place, but it's always belonging to one tradition. And well, I think this is an example for the political situation too. You cannot mix everything. You need, I mean, traditions are different. They have a different focus. It's not that one is better than the other, but each tradition has different focus. I mean, there is no Buddhism in no way. there is many Buddhisms. Yeah, there is many Buddhist schools. In Berlin, you find all Buddhist traditions which appeared in the last 2,500 years somewhere in the world as a little group at least. Chinese and Japanese and all Tibetan traditions and Western Buddhist traditions and everything. Yeah, it's okay. But we cooperate. So I think it's okay. I mean, yeah, we don't want to have, I mean, we don't want to live in one house with 10 families and have one kitchen. I wouldn't like that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I think we can cooperate, have our own thing and cooperate. And I think that is important, to respect that people like different things. Maybe I say that too. I'm thinking a lot about equality and justice and equalness and difference. I think a lot about it. And my favorite philosopher, Hannah Arendt, made a big distinction. She said, in politics and in law, we are equal. One person, one vote, same laws for the same person, but in society is the space for differences. We talk a lot about civil society at the moment. Society is the place of difference, where people, I want to make holidays with people I like. I don't want to be condemned or forced to make holidays with people I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to have my own style of food, and I don't want to have a communal kitchen for everybody. Yeah, I mean, so I think there's an important distinction. Society is the space for differences, but law and politics is the area of equality. And of course, this is not easy. And it's a big dilemma still. I mean, how can you treat people just in a just way if they are different? How can you treat people equally if they are different? And we are different. We are unique. Each person is unique. I want to be treated the same like everybody else. Yeah? In certain respects. In others, yes. Difficult thing. Very important question. I want, how can you be clear that you have concepts and still be enthusiastic with your ideas? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know I have concepts and I can be very enthusiastic about my concepts. But this Buddhist training is too strong. I mean, I still have preferences for certain ideas, but I know other people have other preferences. And I think it's a misunderstanding to say you shouldn't have an own point of view. If I have a point of view and know it's my point of view, I can be very passionate about it, but I know it's my point of view. And you can be passionate about your point of view, but when we both know it's a point of view, then we listen to each other. But it's not the same to be passionate about something and to think I'm right. There's a difference. It helps me a lot. I mean, I like, that's again the thing with difference and equality. Yeah. I can be passionate, you can be passionate, but knowing I'm not right. It's not the only solution for everybody else. Other people have other experiences. And then democracy is not easy. One historian, who was it, who said it's the least, it's every system is bad, but it's the least bad system. Churchill was it? I thought so. Churchill. It's the least terrible system. And democracy doesn't mean everybody peace, yes, yes, yes. But it means we have to make deals. We have to discuss how do we want to organize this situation. It's like a couple. I mean, we have different opinions, or we are a community of 10 people living in 5 flats. but the whole situation belongs to us. So we have to discuss how we want to deal with certain situations. And we have different opinions. So we have to talk with each other. And what helps me a lot is I was 15 years in the board of directors of the German Buddhist Union, all Buddhist traditions. It's very different opinions. And we had a discussion, of course, we were sometimes very different opinion. We had a Solomonic suggestion. Whose concern is more passionate? Your concern that we do it this way, or my concern that we under no circumstance do it this way? And this was very easy. We just asked the question, whose concern is very strong that we should do it that way? 3 people, 4 people? Whose concern is that we under no condition should do it that way? No, not under no condition. Okay, we do it like you want. Next time we discuss something else. So it helped me incredibly much in relationship conflicts too. Whose concern is more strong? And sometimes I noticed because I know the people, you are so passionate about this. Okay, I'm not so passionate about it. Okay, it's okay. We can do it that way. It helped me. Violence against myself was the next point. This is the topic of a whole seminar. Because accepting ourselves is the key for accepting others. And both is not easy. And to accept myself, that doesn't mean to find everything perfect, but to just accept I am jealous on this and this, I have problems with that and that, I don't like this and this, I crave for that and that, I'm dependent on recognition, whatever. And my experience with the help of Buddhist practice is, the more I can accept I have these weaknesses, the less problems I have with other people. And by now, it's when I'm very sensitive about other people in certain points, I know I have a problem. Everything which hurts you has to do with you. It's a Gestalt saying, and Carl Gustav Jung said it too. Whatever hurts you, touches you, has to do with it. It doesn't mean you have the problem, the other people are angels. Not that way. But if it hurts me, it has to do something with me. And the more I take care of that, the easier I can relax with other people. But still, it hurts. But that's a chance for insight and compassion and equanimity. Last one was when we talk about politics and the argument comes, well, this is too complicated. This could be from an attitude of belittling the others. Of course, it's too complicated, you don't understand it anyway. Of course, you can misuse any argument, but I accept life is so complex. Organizing a city, I read a book about post-war Berlin, 45 after the war finished. No electricity, no heating system, no infrastructure, hospitals, no teachers. There was a chaos. And in such a short time, they got it together that they had, after I think half a year, there was no school. But then again, schools were functioning, electricity was functioning, heating system, a certain kind of infrastructure, buses were, it's incredible. Then people work together, they can do incredibly much. But it's complicated. It was not easy. So to accept that things are complex doesn't mean we belittle others who say black and white. It's very easy. I mean, so often I hear, one just could do this, and then the problem would be solved. I'm very glad. I find democracy is the least bad system. At least I have to listen to a couple of other people. And you can't push laws or changes against the majority. And that's a good thing with democracy. You can't rule against the majority of the people. It's impossible. It doesn't work long. It doesn't last. You can't do it. At least you have to take into consideration the majority of the people. And it's complex. I really believe it's complex. And so I expect problems. And I try not to give up. And the majority of people is like that. Even if they live in pre-modern times, culturally, they don't give up. They invest their energy and they do a lot of good things. The majority does it. And we shouldn't be frightened by problems. They will keep coming. Okay, don't give up. Keep confidence and do your best. Okay, we worked longer. You get a plus now for half an hour. You overworked for half an hour. You get, in Germany we say, you get a golden nose. It's like if somebody did something really good, you get a golden nose.